Welcome to the PastGlimpse Photos channel.
Subscribe to the channel and like the video. A rare glimpse into the Ottoman Empire's last days. This 19th century photograph captures Sultan Abdul Hamid II's ceremonial procession, the Selamlik, outside the striking Yıldız Hamidiye Mosque in Istanbul. A powerful blend of neo-Gothic and traditional Ottoman architecture. Summer 1941. The American Legion Carnival in Bellows Falls, Vermont, captured by photographer Jack Delano. A swing carousel entertains locals, but an ominous sign catches the eye. What lies behind the mysterious inscription, "Unborn Life"? A grim omen before America's entry into World War II. Manhattan, 1935. The photographer captures the striking drama of New York skyscrapers. From the height of 35th Street, a shadow looms over 7th Avenue, leaving a bright strip of sunlight flooding cars and hurried pedestrians. This is pure, cinematic New York during the Depression. An incredible artifact from 1907. The cover of the program for a dinner organized by Sperry and Hutchinson for its managers at the famous Waldorf Astoria. The design, styled to resemble a postage stamp, symbolizes their famous loyalty program, S&H Green Stamps, which became part of American culture for decades to come. This is a hand-colored photograph of a Flemish milkmaid in Antwerp around 1890. In late 19th century Belgium, dogs were often used to deliver goods, replacing horses. Here, a woman in traditional costume using 3 dogs encounters a police officer, possibly issuing her a fine for violating delivery regulations. Life in Idaho around 1915 required resourcefulness. This is photographer Otto M. Jones' authentic home barbershop. Against a backdrop of desert landscape, a man sits on a tin can while receiving a haircut from his friend. This is a vivid example of self-sufficiency and simple living in the early years of the American West. This is what racing looked like in the early 20th century. Around 1920, this single-seater Chevrolet with open wheels and a slim cigar-shaped design is preparing to start. The huge spoked wheels and lack of a windshield emphasize the driver's courage in an era when racing was at its most dangerous and exciting. This World War II-era photograph shows U.S. Navy sailors participating in a long-standing naval tradition known as the Crossing the Line ceremony. Sailors who crossed the equator for the first time underwent playful hazing rituals, like these humorous patchy haircuts, to mark their transformation from pollywogs to seasoned shellbacks. The evening of June 20, 1944, in Carentan, France, American soldiers line up in the town square, which had just been the scene of fierce fighting to link up the beachheads. Commanders award these heroes, whose faces and uniforms bear the marks of Normandy. It is an honor earned under enemy fire. This photograph captures the liberated Arjangarten in August 1944. A German tank stuck among the ruins symbolizes the collapse of the occupation. Nearby, U.S. soldiers rest near a building with the inscription German Employment Office. A stark contrast between the recent control of the Reich and the complete destruction of the city. April 1945. The Red Army storms the Seelow Heights on its way to Berlin. Against the backdrop of a completely destroyed German town, a Soviet medic uses a team of dogs to evacuate the seriously wounded. This primitive but effective method saved lives on the front lines in one of the bloodiest battles of the war. Berlin, May 1945. The city was in ruins after the Battle of Berlin. A woman stands on a bridge over the Spree River, her bag of belongings all she has left. She belongs to the Turmfragen, the women of the ruins who will soon begin rebuilding Germany. Her gaze is a solemn promise of the future that is about to begin. A European city, mid-20th century, a stark picture of daily life. A crowd lines up outside the Otto Rhein's shop, waiting for goods labeled Gemüse and Geflügel, which means vegetables and poultry. Reserved faces, the tight queue, and a bucket held by one woman underscore the quiet but tense reality of existence during an era of shortages and the necessity of queuing for food. Far from home, Croatian and Yugoslav refugees work as shoemakers in the El Shat camp in Egypt in 1944. In the cramped confines of their tents, these men turned their craft into a means of survival. Despite their refugee status, they maintained their dignity and self-sufficiency, providing for themselves and their fellow exiles. France, 1918. Soldiers from an American artillery unit pose on a railway gun, emphasizing its enormous scale. These giant weapons were a response to the needs of trench warfare, capable of delivering huge shells over long distances. This is true American power on rails, which changed the course of World War I. This photograph, taken in front of the Reichstag in Berlin during the interwar period, shows a mock tank displayed for a propaganda exhibition called Die Front, the Front. Such exhibits were used in Germany to promote military awareness and national pride after World War I, at a time when the country was restricted by the Treaty of Versailles. The fake tank symbolized both nostalgia for lost military power and the growing militarization of public sentiment in the years leading up to World War II. Manchuria, 1932. The Japanese occupation continues, and the army demonstrates its new developments. This is not a musical instrument, but an early acoustic detector for air defense. Although the device soon became obsolete due to the increasing speed of aircraft, it remains a fascinating symbol of the military fever and technological experimentation of the early 1930s. This isn't the 1920s, it's 1918. The Spanish flu pandemic is raging. Strict mask mandates are in place in cities across America, such as San Francisco. This woman carries a stern warning: wear a mask or go to jail. History lesson: public health has always required tough measures. A remarkable historical image of an older woman performing heavy agricultural work. The visual contrast between her delicate lace collar and the gigantic, rough bundle she carries on her head is striking. This photo offers a dramatic, candid look at daily life and gender roles in rural communities decades ago. His haunting photograph shows the mourning women sculptures at the Vimy Ridge Memorial in France, a World War I monument dedicated to Canadian soldiers who died in battle. The figures, draped and solemn, symbolize grief, sacrifice, and remembrance. Their quiet, stoic presence reflects the sorrow of a generation forever changed by the war's devastating toll. New York City, 1959. This iconic photo freezes a moment of celebration, a happy couple on their wedding day riding down 42nd Street. Look at the gleam of the vintage car and the bride's simple crown. It's a powerful, intimate image of love and hope against the backdrop of a transformative decade in America. Dive into America's industrial past. This powerful 1920 shot features a colossal Westinghouse turbine at a New York power station. Inside its massive casing, a worker is meticulously tightening bolts, underscoring the machine's monumental scale.
Thousands of tiny blades are visible on the turbine shell, ready to turn steam into electricity, powering the burgeoning metropolis.
Meet the fashion of the Roaring Twenties. This vibrant swimmer from Los Angeles, perched on a convertible, showcases the bold style of the flapper era. Her short suit, cap, and extravagant laced boots symbolize the freedom and growing glamour of Southern California. A confident smile reflects the spirit of a changing time.
Paris, 1900. This is the entrance to the famous À l'Homme Armé cabaret on Rue des Blancs-Manteaux. Above the door is a warrior in armor, sitting on a cannon. In the doorway, an elegant maitre d' in a bow tie stands ready. The rich wood carving and wrought iron bars convey the mysterious and luxurious atmosphere of the Belle Epoque nightlife. Oklahoma, 1931. A powerful image symbolizing the Great Depression. This poor family takes shelter in a smokehouse sustained by the Red Cross. The mother tenderly feeds her youngest child while the father looks on. This poignant scene captures not only destitution, but also the unbroken human spirit and hope amid America's toughest economic hardship. 1937. Detailed craftsmanship inside a hosiery factory. This close-up shows a worker's hands meticulously handling the delicate fabric. Sheer stockings, like spider webs, drape from the circular knitting machine. This scene highlights the intersection of complex industrial technology and the essential manual labor required to create a key garment of the era. Tallahassee, Florida, 1956. A group portrait of the FAMU high school basketball team. 7 young players in fitted uniforms pose with their balls, showing determination and team spirit. This photo is a vibrant document of sports and education history and a moment of pride for the school associated with the legendary Florida A&M University, New York's East Side. Circa 1910. An elderly man, lost in thought beside a chalkboard sign for bean soup, watches over a child. The baby sleeps on a blanket on the harsh sidewalk. This poignant image, fresh air for a child, is a quiet portrait of survival and tender care amidst the intense poverty of the bustling metropolis. The Los Angeles County Museum of Art in the 1960s. This shot captures the design of William Pereira, featuring soaring ceilings, massive columns, and giant windows draped with sheer curtains. Elegantly dressed couples attending a social event underscore the grandeur of the modernist space. This interior is a pristine example of mid-century American architecture.
Los Angeles, 1942. Photographer Russell Lee captured the nighttime intersection of Vine Street and Sunset Boulevard. The centerpiece is an old traffic signal standing beside a newsboys stand. War-era headlines scream from the front pages. Cars blur through the frame, while the contrasting light from headlights and street lamps creates a dramatic image of wartime America.
A step back in time in Old Town Scottsdale, Arizona. Sunlight washes over a rough stone or adobe facade, complete with wrought iron lanterns and a wagon wheel. In the foreground rests a weathered sleigh or carriage. This shot captures the nostalgic atmosphere of the American Wild West, where the desert meets history.
Sir George Duncan Gibb, 1821 to 1876, was a Canadian physician, surgeon, and writer who was born in Montreal and studied medicine at McGill College, graduated 1846. He was a founder of the St. Lawrence School of Medicine, where he lectured on comparative anatomy. Before leaving Canada to settle in London in 1853, he was consulting physician to the Montreal Dispensary.
Donald, Victoria, Australia, circa 1905. Members of the Jeffcott District Brass Band
pose for a group portrait. The musicians, ranging from men to young boys, stand among the trees, holding shining brass instruments, including trumpets, cornets, and tubas. The shot reflects early community history and pride in local arts in the Australian outback.
Melbourne, circa 1954. Sales representatives from the W.D. and H.O. Wills Tobacco Company celebrate their Christmas party. Two men in suits and bow ties are beaming, wearing festive hats. One holds a glass for a toast, the other sports a lei. The shot beautifully captures the carefree, joyous atmosphere of a post-war office party in Australia. Singapore, North Bridge Road, the 1940s. This black and white shot captures the colonial era, where the pace of life is set by the rickshaw. A coolie strains to push the carriage with a passenger running past two-story shophouses. It's a poignant image of the pre-war city, where traditional transportation coexisted with modern signage. Huntington Avenue grounds, 1910. On the field stand some of baseball's most influential figures: Ban Johnson, the first American League president, Massachusetts Governor Curtis Guild, and Senator Charles Taylor. The men stand in suits against the backdrop of wooden stands, capturing a moment when sports and politics were shaping the nation's identity. The Bahamas, Nassau, 1901. This shot captures Meadow Street in the Baintown district. The unpaved road is lined by rough stone walls and lush palm trees. Modest wooden shacks and men in light attire convey the quiet, tropical pace of life at the turn of the 20th century. Erie, Pennsylvania, circa 1900. An expansive view of the Anchor Line docks and railway company. Freight cars marked Pennsylvania lines filled the rail yard. Coal and ore terminals smoke along the lakefront, showcasing the immense scale of America's industrial and railroad power at the turn of the century. Portsmouth, New Hampshire, circa 1906. The Piscatawaka River. This panorama captures the steam ferry Kittery moving along the industrial waterfront. Multi-story buildings, including the Preston Laboratory, stand tightly packed on the wharf, a tall smokestack venting smoke. The shot perfectly reflects the era of steam, commerce, and early New England industrialization. Washington, D.C., 1902. A monumental view of the U.S. Capitol's East Front. The frame captures the central building, dominated by its impressive dome, topped by the Statue of Freedom. Solitary figures in carriages in the plaza underscore the grand scale of the architecture, symbolizing the heart of American democracy at the turn of the new century.